might have answered its questions at quarterback. A.J. McCarron played a very efficient game en route to a 27-11 victory over Penn State in Happy Valley. Do you think Alabama has its offensive needs to win the SEC?
I do. The word you just used, efficient, and that's the way that Nick Saban gets the most out of his young and inexperienced quarterbacks whenever he has one in the offense, just like Greg McElroy did a few years ago, like we mentioned on the very first episode of this show. Also, Penn State, a tougher team than what people think. Happy Valley, one of the toughest places to play, one of the few stadiums in America where you have over 100,000 people. AJ did a great job this past weekend of really showing that he could take Alabama all the way down the field and not just rely on his running backs and the protection of his offensive line. None of their drives lasted more than 11 plays. So I think McCarron definitely gives enough offense for them, and also put Phillip Sims, the other quarterback, out of the picture for now.
I mean, Penn State, they are definitely tougher than they appear to be, but you got to think Alabama has so much talent tied on this one team. I mean, you have A.J. McCarron, you have freshman Darius Haynes, and possibly Deron Carter returning. So you have to think, like, with that much talent, I mean, they are probably, like, invincible right now. I mean, what I think I like about AJ the most is he doesn't just take it on as a one-man show. Like, he actually gives every player on the team time to exhort their talent through. I mean, he had 8 different receivers. He had 2 carries for 4 yards. So he definitely knows how to just not be a one-man show, and they are equipped with definitely enough talent.
I agree with both of y'all. This Alabama team has a very healthy balance of pass and run. You look against Penn State, 163 pass yards, 196 rushing yards. They cleaned up the turnovers. Like you said, this team is very efficient on offense. The defense is stellar too. I think we're beginning to see shades of that 09 national championship team. Alabama going to be a very tough out this year. Between the hedges Saturday, South Carolina took an early command of the SEC East with a 45-42 victory over Georgia. With the loss, Georgia falls to 0-2 for the first time since 1996. Georgia coach Mark Richt is clearly on the hot seat. So what does he have to do to get this team turned around?
Well, Jonathan, you said it. Georgia and their coach is on the hot seat right now. I mean, I have not been impressed over the past couple weeks, like we've been saying on the show, with Georgia. Georgia hasn't shown anything exciting. I mean, they had 3 turnovers that game. Their defense really needs to tighten up. As you saw those plays, USC was throwing more than 25-yard touchdowns. I mean, if your defense can't stop that, what are you going to do? I mean, I felt like USC was running all over them. And like I said, it was going to be an exciting game because I feel like these teams were evenly matched. But obviously, USC came out by the hair of their chin and took the win.
It's like you said, defense has got to limit the big plays. South Carolina, 3 touchdowns of over 25-plus yards. Lewis?
I'll say this. Aaron Murray, like I mentioned on one of our previous shows, does a great job putting up great numbers, but great numbers don't always equal a W in the victory column. Mm-hmm. So I think the most important thing is they have to protect Aaron Murray and give him time to throw so he won't throw picks or get the ball and himself knocked out like they did this past game. Big thing for Georgia, the next 2 games against Coastal Carolina and Ole Miss, that's a good way for them to gain some momentum with their offense, give the players confidence. Next thing you know, they're 2-2 going into their game against Mississippi State when they really hit the meat of their SEC schedule. So that's the best thing that I think Georgia can do at this point.
Definitely not making excuses for Georgia, but losing their linebacker is definitely hurting them in this. So maybe they can use talent from other areas, and hopefully they'll have a better season. Because right now their coach is on the hot seat, and starting off with a 0-2 win, it's kind of giving people ammunition to, I don't know, maybe replace you. So hey, we'll see how that goes. When we come back, we'll tell you if Ole Miss will get its conference schedule started off on a high note, and later we'll tell you if the Texas A&M move will be good for the SEC.
Welcome back to the show. The Tennessee Volunteers will travel to the Swamp this Saturday to take on the number 16 Florida Gators. Both teams enter this game undefeated for the first time since 2006. The Gators have won 6 straight in the series. Does that streak end this weekend?
Rock it up, you'll always be. Give me Tennessee on this one. I love Tennessee, and the main reason, Tyler Bray, Justin Hunter, Dayrick Rogers. Look at Tyler Bray, 5th in the nation in passer rating, 79% completion rating, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. I'm not sure which is better at this point, Tyler Bray or Derek Dooley's orange pants.
Okay. Fair enough. Jonathan, it sounds like you're drinking that orange Kool-Aid.
Hey, I'm all over it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Florida's defense has only given up 3 points in their first 2 games this season. John Brantley definitely has some room to grow, but he's improved a lot under Charlie Weiss, correct? And they have huge fast defensive linemen in Sharif Floyd, Dominique Easley, and Ronnie Powell. So I have every reason to think that Florida is going to win this weekend, but they won't. You're right, Jonathan. I think Tennessee is going to win this weekend. I know that the Florida quarterback, Brantley, is experienced now, and he's shown a lot of growth. But Bray, something about the way that he has really settled in Coach Dooley's system has really showed a lot of improvement, and I think he's much more comfortable than his opponent on the other side of the field. Tennessee wins.
I don't know, guys. I really think Tennessee's going to struggle because the Swamp is a totally different zone to play, and it is all Gator Nation, and it is hard to play not at your own home, and especially in the Swamp.
I had a few gallons of that orange Kool-Aid, so I'm still sticking with Tennessee.
I can tell, dude.
Ole Miss opens up SEC play this weekend on the road against the Vanderbilt Commodores. The Rebels have lost 3 of the last 4 games in this matchup. So do you think the Rebels suffered the same fate as MSU in their first conference game?
Well, Jonathan, I wouldn't put Ole Miss and MSU in the same pool for any sport or anything, but I really think it's going to be an interesting matchup because, as you've seen, Ole Miss and Vanderbilt over the past couple years have really been struggling and have been at the bottom of the SEC. So I really think it's the bottom of the bottom battling it out to show who's going to be victorious because everyone instantly thinks Vanderbilt, oh, they're not that great of a team. But, I mean, Ole Miss has kind of fallen into that category over the past couple years. So I really think it's an even match game, and I think it'll be really interesting to see what's going to happen with this game and who's going to come out as the top of the bottom.
Well, I agree. One thing about this game that's interesting, both teams very, very poor on offense. Neither one of them has a passing offense that's under 100th in the nation. So you're not going to see a lot of points in this game. I know it's at Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt has improved a lot. But I think the difference in this game is going to be Jeff Scott, the running back from Ole Miss. He's very explosive. I got Ole Miss in this game.
I can't agree with you on that one. I'm sorry. I like Vanderbilt this one. I love James Franklin, heck of a ball coach. Both quarterbacks, as you mentioned, shaky. The offense is still kind of not up to par. Both defenses tied for second in the nation in INTs, both with 5 per game. I like Vandy, though. Second in pick sixes, tops in the SEC with 3.5 sacks per game. Give me Vandy.
Right.
Wow, it's definitely getting heated with this topic. Coming back from the break, we'll sit down with MSU women's volleyball head coach Jenny Hazelwood to talk about the exciting season for the upstart Bulls.